Good day, and thank you for watching. If you've been charged with a crime in California, you may look at the paperwork and wonder, how can I be charged with so many different crimes for one incident? And that brings us to an important concept in criminal law known as stacked charges. Because in many criminal cases, prosecutors do not file just one charge, they may file several, sometimes many, all arising out of the same event. Let's start with the basics. When prosecutors review a case, they examine the facts, police reports, witness statements, physical evidence, and applicable laws. And from that information, they may allege multiple violations. Now, here's the key. Different charges may address different aspects of the same conduct. For example, a single traffic stop could potentially involve allegations relating to possession, impairment, resisting, weapons, or probation violations. Now, here's where many people make a mistake. They assume that because there are multiple charges, conviction is automatic. But charges are allegations, not findings of guilt, and each charge still requires proof. Now let's talk about why prosecutors file multiple charges. One reason is strategy. Filing multiple allegations may increase pressure during the case, it may create leverage in negotiations, or it may preserve different legal theories depending on how the evidence develops. Now let's discuss another issue, enhancements. In some criminal cases, prosecutors may also add sentencing enhancements. These are additional allegations that may increase potential penalties if proven. Now let's talk about how overwhelming this can feel. People often see a long list of charges and immediately panic. They focus on the total number instead of understanding what each allegation actually means. But criminal cases are not evaluated based solely on quantity. The evidence supporting each allegation matters. Now let's discuss another important point. Some charges may overlap significantly, and as the case develops, certain allegations may be reduced, dismissed, or challenged. Now let's talk about negotiations. Multiple charges may affect plea discussions because prosecutors sometimes negotiate around which allegations remain and which are dismissed. Now, here's another important issue, public perception. People sometimes believe that a large number of charges automatically means someone is extremely dangerous or clearly guilty, but charging decisions are made at the beginning stages of a case, often before all evidence is fully examined in court. Now, let's discuss another common misunderstanding. Some people believe that if they explain everything to investigators, the extra charges will disappear immediately. But statements made during investigations can sometimes create additional complications instead. Now, let's talk about evidence. Every allegation still requires evidence. Witnesses, documents, digital evidence, physical evidence, statements, and prosecutors must still establish the required legal elements for each charge. Now, let's discuss another issue, jury impact. Large charging documents can sometimes create emotional impact, but juries are instructed to evaluate each charge separately, and each allegation must stand on its own evidence. Now, let's talk about timelines. Criminal charges often evolve during a case. Some allegations may change after further investigation, motions, or negotiations. The initial filing is not always the final version of the case. Now, let's discuss another important point, prior history. Prior convictions or pending cases may sometimes affect charging decisions or enhancements, and that can significantly affect potential exposure. Now, let's talk about emotional reactions. Fear, embarrassment, anger, and panic are common after criminal charges are filed, especially when the charging document appears severe. But emotional reactions can sometimes lead people to make rushed decisions without fully understanding the legal situation. Now, let's discuss another issue. Media and public exposure. In higher profile cases, stacked charges can create dramatic headlines, but headlines and allegations are not the same thing as convictions. Now let's talk about legal analysis. One of the most important parts of defending criminal cases is carefully analyzing each allegation separately. What evidence supports it? What evidence challenges it? What legal issues exist? Because not every charge carries equal strength. Now, let's discuss another misconception. Some people think stacked charges guarantee long prison sentences, but sentencing outcomes depend on many factors, including evidence, negotiations, criminal history, enhancements, and court rulings. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. Stacked charges are part of how prosecutors structure criminal cases, and understanding that structure helps people better understand what they are actually facing. Finally, let's talk about expectations. Criminal cases are rarely simple. The charging document is often just the beginning of a much larger legal process, and early fear should not replace careful analysis of the facts and evidence. In conclusion, stacked charges in California criminal cases occur when prosecutors file multiple allegations arising from the same incident. These charging decisions are often strategic and can feel overwhelming, but every allegation still requires proof, and understanding the process is critical in evaluating the case properly. If you are facing criminal charges and trying to understand what the allegations actually mean, understanding the structure of the case and the legal issues involved can make a major difference. Call us at 888-888-6582. I'm Vince Davis, and we are all in this together.